It was 117 degrees outside, FOB lightning, the kind of heat that makes the metal on your rifle too hot to touch. My team had just finished a 12-hour route clearance sweep when the call came. Taliban's ambush 2 clicks north. We rolled out in 3 MRAPs. Windows cracked because the AC had died 2 weeks earlier. The last thing I did before we left was call home on the MWR satellite phone. Mom, if anything ever happens to me, don't talk like that, baby. She cut me off, voice thick like she'd been crying. You're coming home. I told her I loved her. Told Dad to keep the lawn watered. Told my little brother not to sell my Xbox. Then the line went dead and we drove into the dust. 72 hours later, I was officially a ghost. Not because I died, because someone in the rear detachment typed the wrong 3 letters. M became KIA with one lazy keystroke. I didn't know any of this yet. I was too busy dragging my gunner out of a burning truck, too busy putting tourniquets on legs that didn't belong to me anymore, too busy trying to keep my own intestines from spilling into the red sand. When the Black Hawks finally found us, I had been unconscious for 16 hours. They medevaced me to Bagram, stitched me up, pumped me full of blood that belonged to strangers, and flew me to Lanchtu. I woke up 3 days later with a tube down my throat and no idea that my mother had already started spending my death money. The first sign something was wrong came in Germany. I was on the ward phone trying to call home when the line just rang and rang. No answer. Not Mom, not Dad, not my brother. I figured they were at work. I left voicemails that sounded like gravel. Hey, I'm okay. I'm alive. Coming home soon. I flew into Dover on a Friday night. The mortuary affairs soldiers gave me the same look people give widows at funerals. Soft eyes, softer voices. I was still wearing the same desert boots I'd had on during the ambush, caked in dried blood that wasn't all mine. A chaplain offered to pray with me. I told him I just wanted a ride to the IG office. He thought I was in shock. I wasn't. The Inspector General's office at Fort Belvoir smells like burnt coffee and bureaucracy. I walked in wearing borrowed ACUs 2 sizes too big, ribbons crooked, hair still matted with Afghan dirt. The sergeant major behind the desk looked up, did the slowest double take I've ever seen, and actually dropped his pen. Sergeant First Class Reyes, he said, reading my name tape like he was seeing a corpse stand up. You're listed as deceased. I laughed. It came out ugly. Funny, I said. I've been feeling pretty alive lately. He opened a folder, then another, then a third. His face went the color of printer paper. Ma'am, he whispered, your family has already claimed over $500,000 in benefits. He turned the stack toward me. There it was. My death, itemized. Service members? Group life insurance? $400,000. Death gratuity? $100,000. Thrift savings plan? $87,412.63. Withdrawal requested. Signature forged. USAA joint checking. Drained USAA joint. Savings drained. Dependency and indemnity compensation. Paperwork in progress DD1300. Casualty report signed by my mother as next of kin, and the one that made my vision tunnel, a quitclaim deed removing my name from the house I'd been paying the mortgage on since I was 19. I asked the only question that mattered. How long do I have before the money hits their accounts? 72 hours, he said. Reversals take time. I looked him dead in the eye. Make it 24. That was Monday. Tuesday morning, I sat in a JAG office and signed every affidavit they put in front of me. I gave them my phone, my USAA login, my mother's maiden name, the PIN she used for everything, because she thought 1234 was easier to remember. I handed over screenshots of texts my brother sent his girlfriend. Sis is gone. Mom says we're rich now, lol. By Wednesday, the accounts were frozen. Thursday, the warrants were cut. Friday, I rented a car and drove home. I still remember the exact way the neighborhood looked when I pulled onto Maple Crest Drive. Same cracked basketball hoop in the Johnsons' driveway. Same plastic flamingos at Mrs. Alvarez's. Same American flag on our porch, only now it was at half-mast. For me. There was a white Lexus parked where my beat-up Tacoma used to sit. Brand new. Still had the temporary tag. I parked behind it, left the engine running, and walked up the driveway in full dress blues. The uniform they buried empty caskets in. The one I hadn't worn since my last promotion ceremony. The news van was already there. Someone at the sheriff's office had tipped them off. Good. I rang the doorbell with my left hand. My right hand held the stack of reversal letters. My mother opened the door holding a Starbucks cup, wearing the diamond earrings I bought her for her 50th birthday. The cup slipped. It shattered on the welcome mat that still said "Home Sweet Home" in faded cursive. She screamed my name like I was the ghost. My father appeared behind her, face blotched red, still wearing the same USMC sweatshirt he'd had since 1998. My brother stumbled out of the living room in basketball shorts, mouth open, phone tumbling from his hand. For 10 full seconds, nobody spoke. Then my mother reached for me. I stepped back. "Don't," I said. The sheriff's deputy behind me cleared his throat. "Ma'am," he said to my mother, "we have some paperwork for you." I handed her the stack myself. Every reversed payment, every frozen account, every charge annotated. Title 18 U.S.C. Section 641. Theft of government property. Title 18 U.S.C. Section 1341. Mail fraud. Title 18 U.S.C. Section 471. Forgery of signature. My mother looked down at the papers like they were written in another language. "Baby," she whispered, "we thought you were dead." I looked at her for a long time. "No," I said. "You hoped I was." My father tried next. "We were grieving." "You bought a Lexus 4 days after the notification visit," I said. "Grief looks different on you." My brother started crying. Real tears, snot bubbling. "I didn't know, I swear." "You shipped my TV to your apartment," I said. "Left the empty box in my room like I'd never notice." I turned to leave. My mother lunged, grabbed my sleeve. The medals on my chest clinked. "Please," she begged. "You're our daughter." I looked down at her hand on my uniform. Then I unhooked the silver star ribbon, the one I earned pulling 3 soldiers out of a burning Bradley, and let it fall onto the porch. "No," I said. "I was your beneficiary." I walked away. They screamed my name all the way to the street. The cameras caught every second. I didn't look back. 3 months later, I held the funeral. Not for my body. For the version of me that used to believe family was the one thing war couldn't take. Arlington Section 60, November. Cold enough to see your breath. Full military honors for a living soldier. The army doesn't do that. They did it for me. 7 rifles, 3 volleys. Taps played by a bugler who cried when he found out why the casket was empty. I wore my dress blues pressed so sharp they could cut glass. My battle buddy, Staff Sergeant Morales, the one who carried me to the medevac bird, stood beside me in his own uniform, eyes locked forward. When the honor guard folded the flag, they tried to hand it to me. I shook my head. "Place it on the casket," I said. They did. I stepped forward, pulled a single 5.56 round from my pocket, the one I'd carried in my vest since the ambush, and laid it on the polished wood. Then I saluted. Not the quick hand-to-brow motion you see in movies, the slow, perfect, final salute of a soldier who is done. When I dropped it, I spoke the only words I said that day. You declared me dead, I told the box. So from today, I am. I turned and walked out between the rows of white stones. I have not spoken to my parents since. They write letters from federal prison, separate facilities. My mother still signs hers, "Love always, Mom," like muscle memory. My brother got a lighter sentence, 5 years probation and restitution. He sends apologies on notebook paper that smell like jail soap. I don't open them anymore. I bought a small house 2 states away, no co-signers, no joint accounts. The mortgage is in my name only. Some nights I sit on the porch with a beer and look at the sky. I think about the girl who used to send every paycheck home because she thought love was proved by money. That girl died in Afghanistan. They just forgot to tell her. Sometimes people ask if I forgive them. I think about the empty casket. I think about the Lexus. I think about the way my mother's hand shook when she signed my death certificate so she could buy diamonds. Then I go inside, lock the door, and let the phone ring until voicemail picks up. Because some people don't get to come back from the dead, and some daughters make sure they never do.